thank you guys so much for agreeing to do this interview and meeting with me virtually today. My name is Jordan and I'm a social worker at the Thorpe Recovery Center. I provide support to those we serve by facilitating opportunities and resources that will aid them on their recovery journey. The Thorpe Recovery Center is an accredited nonprofit treatment center for those with substance use disorders. So once again, thank you both for meeting with me virtually today. So today we have Jennifer and Crystal, and they are program managers of the Cornerstone program through the Salvation Army. Cornerstone is a sober living transitional housing in Edmonton, Alberta. They're able to house up to 20 women, all in individual sites. They provide on-site supports as well as drop-in life skills program called Wings. They support the women in their transition goals and their recovery plans by providing accountability, programming, connections in the city, and other supports as needed. So welcome, guys.
Yeah.
So I guess just to start us off, could you guys kind of talk about your relationship with the Thorpe Recovery Center and how we've kind of been working side by side a little bit?
Sure. I'll kind of talk a little bit more than Crystal because Crystal just started, so okay. She'll be taking over for my mat leave position at Cornerstone. Awesome. So she's kind of learning about the community connections as well that we're connected with in and around Edmonton and larger Alberta as well. Awesome. So our relationship with Thorpe started probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, connecting with a few of the treatment centers, trying to get our name out there a little bit more, networking a little bit more to get individuals from treatment centers to come into our program and engage in our programming at Cornerstone. So our program is second stage housing to treatment. So it's an important step to connect with those treatment centers so that we can have a smooth transition coming from treatment to sober living.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of helps to bridge that gap a little bit too when people first leave treatment and then they might not have a place to go to return to, or either their home life isn't healthy or isn't safe for them. So yeah, it's definitely helps to bridge that gap and is also like a super big support as well. I feel like in people's recovery journey as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How long has Cornerstone been in service for? And are you guys a nonprofit agency?
I'm unsure of the exact date, but I think we've been in service for approximately 20 years.
Okay. Yeah.
We are a part of larger Salvation Army, so our funding is received. We are primarily nonprofit, but we do receive funding from all sorts of different places as well. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Kind of hard to answer to that with being part of such a global organization.
It's true, yeah, like the Salvation Army, yeah, it's huge. There's so many different components to it too. So
yeah. But our kettles at Christmas, when people donate to the kettles, a portion of that comes to Cornerstone program.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I always found that a pretty neat fact to have as well.
Yeah, no kidding. That's wonderful for sure. And how has your guys' programming changed due to COVID? Have you guys noticed a significant change or any barriers there?
There were in the beginning, especially we had to shut down our programming. We teach a life skills program daily. So we had to stop teaching that for approximately 3 months. Then we were able to do it within regulations. So different requirements such as masking, only having 5 in a class at a time.
Right.
Not sharing things, not having food. And so, I mean, the most difficult I find is that we have our house meetings or our house dinners, and those times are where we connect a lot of the individuals that are new to the apartment building. Because each individual is in different suites, they don't always know who's on the 3rd floor and who's on the 1st floor.
Right.
So at those dinners and at those house meetings is when they meet each other. But right now we can only have 5 or 6 at a time.
Oh,
so it's
man.
quite challenging to have those individuals connect with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely kind of has to happen on a smaller scale now. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's hard to create the community anywhere right now, and yeah, we're trying our best to find different ways.
Yeah, finding different ways to do it. But the one thing that I really appreciated about your guys' organization, kind of right when COVID hit, because that's when I was working in a different role, and you guys were being super accessible when it came to new clients coming in and trying to make it work, like, especially because the restrictions were so intense a while back. But I just found it really easy to work with you guys and making sure that those clients had that extra support when they left and that they knew where they were going. And then, yeah, COVID sucks. It's here for a bit right now, but we just got to work with it. And so I really found that awesome that you guys just jumped right into it and we're like, yeah, we're going to keep doing this. Just it's going to look a little different now.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I think we have a pretty unique situation compared to most having the individual suites, and we have not had one positive case here. And when somebody does have any symptoms, they're able to isolate in the comfort of their own suite.
Right,
and
exactly.
It doesn't displace other individuals, right? So it's been pretty easy that way for us. I know a lot of other treatment centers and sober living had to stop doing intakes, and we were able to because of that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not very often where you have like second stage or sober living like have their own units for the clients, right? Where usually it's everyone's living in the same house, but you guys are able to kind of facilitate them having their own like apartment styles, right? Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, they're all it's very close to independent living. They have their own kitchen, their own bathroom, own bedroom, own living room. So they're able to live independently in there. So.
Right. Yeah, that's fantastic. I know, like I always have clients asking like, so like what are my sober living options, like that kind of thing. Like I don't know if I feel comfortable like going and living like in communal living in a big house or that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I got an option there for you. Let me just call Jennifer. So yeah,
it's really well. It's definitely like having just the safety net. You're living on your own, you're able to cook and clean and do everything on your own, but then you have this safety net of having staff around a little bit. You're having somebody to hold you accountable to your recovery plan. You just have this additional support that you wouldn't get from living in an independent apartment building.
Exactly. And I think that's like mostly just what they need. Like they need to still learn how to be independent, but still knowing that they have that support should they have a rough day or should they just need someone to talk to. And I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know that in the intro we kind of talked about a bit of the services that you guys offer. Would you mind maybe just explaining them a bit more, like the wings program and that kind of thing, and just maybe talk about like if there's any fees for the services and that kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure. So our life skills program is called Wings. So this is also a fairly new program. We've been teaching it for about 1.5 years. It's a drop-in program. The requirement is that the ladies attend one class every 2 months. So it's very, very easy to meet the requirements. We did that on purpose because a lot of the women are coming from treatment. So they're coming from this full-time programming and now they're wanting to do work or school. And we didn't want to create another barrier of, well, you got to do our programming now. But we still wanted them to be able to have access to be adding to their toolkit while being able to practice it in the real world.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's kind of what the Wings program is about. We teach in the 6 areas of the wellness wheel. We're teaching on relationships, a lot of things that you would teach on in treatment as well. So relationships and self-worth and self-value, your self-esteem. Your spiritual care, your physical health. So there's quite a few things that we want them to attend one class in each of those 6 areas. That's how you get your 6 classes. So that's our Wings program. We also offer one-on-one meetings. So once a month at the minimum, they need to connect with one of the staff members that they're assigned to.
Gotcha.
So in the first month, we connect them with doing a recovery plan and a goal plan, which looks also quite a bit different than in treatment. It's not a 15-page book. It's just a one-page sheet that we're trying to get an understanding of, you know, give me a brief of what your recovery plan was that you did while you were in treatment.
Right.
So who are your supports? What are you currently doing for your recovery? How do you need to improve your recovery? And how can we support you in meeting that, meeting those goals?
Right.
And then the goal plan is also the transition plan. So we have, you know, individuals that might want to start work or pay off their fines or connect with their children. The goals can be so broad. So we do our best to connect them with community supports. And then when we kind of hit our limit on, because we're not superheroes, we don't have all the supports in the community. So when we hit our limit of, okay, this is out of my scope, this is out of my range, we actually have a caseworker that comes to site once a week, working with the Pathways of Hope within the Salvation Army. And they can connect with that program, and he will do his job, his sole purpose is to connect them and help them do the paperwork. And if he doesn't have the resource, he will find the resource.
That's awesome. That's good. It's kind of like you have like your own like 211 system, or like your own
you
have the answers. That's awesome.
So that's pretty much what we do here. We work as a team. So when we're kind of working outside of our scope and what we know how to work with, different things with a client on, we will connect with the team to see if they have ideas or suggestions on different ways we can support that individual. We're a small team, so it's easy for us to kind of connect, and the girls all know that, you know, if I don't have the answer, that we'll talk to each other about it so that we can support them as a unit.
Exactly. Brainstorm and kind of get some different ideas there. No, that's awesome. And so with these services, are there fees for these services? Like I know, or like for rent at like Cornerstone. So would that be kind of be like one of your only fees, I guess, for service?
The programming is all included in the monthly rent. So for a 1-bedroom suite, it's $685, and for a bachelor suite, it's $580.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
That's super cool, because it's kind of like, you're getting that program, and you're getting that safe place to stay. You're getting that support that's literally within hand's reach, right? Well, not COVID, you know, maybe put gloves on, sanitize, I don't know. But like it's kind of like all three of those like big needs are taken care of right off the bat.
Exactly.
So along with that, how can somebody access your programming?
So typically we get referrals from agencies, so Thorpe or other treatment centers, hospitals, detox, but an individual can also self-refer. So if somebody calls me and is looking for housing, we do a little bit of a kind of a pre-asking questions. You're finding out why they're wanting housing with Salvation Army. But then I email them the application form, and they can send it back to me themselves as well. They don't want an agency involved. So
that's fantastic. Because there are like a lot of second stage sober living places that do require like a professional referral, like people can't self-refer themselves. So
and we noticed we didn't do it that way because we noticed that a lot of individuals have been through treatment, but then they tried to live on their own. It wasn't the way that they thought it was going to go, and now they don't have an agency to help them refer. So kind of again like removing another barrier.
100%. Do you guys also have like a website or anything like that?
We do. We have a new one. I can certainly email that to you.
Sure, that would be great. And I might be able to link it with this interview as well, just so people can check your guys' website out and get some more information if we miss anything within this interview. But I think we're doing pretty good so far.
There is a picture of one of the suites on there too. They're all brand new, renovated from last April. So
awesome.
You could see the new paint and the new floor.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I love it. So along, like, you guys have really kind of discussed accessing the programming. It's super accessible. So what are the main requirements for people to enter your program then?
We kind of have two ways, either 3 months of sobriety or completion of treatment.
Gotcha.
So we don't always have individuals that are coming here for addiction support. It might be for mental health support as well. So this could be addiction, concurrent, or solely mental health purposes. Okay. So we don't necessarily say that you need to go through an addiction treatment program, but some kind of programming.
Right.
So that might be hospital programming, mental health programming. Yeah. But typically individuals are coming from a treatment program.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not limited to that too, which I really like, because then again, like, it's making it more accessible, because there's so many different variations of programming out there, right? So
yeah, and some people are living a sober life for the last couple months, and they're connected with outpatient programming or their support groups and things like that. So
yeah, exactly. So they're still working like their program too at that same time. Yeah,
exactly.
Just not maybe in like a structured facility. So
yeah.
And what is Cornerstone's program expectations?
We have a few. Some, like, we have a curfew, which is midnight. They're allowed to go on overnight visits. So we have some rules and expectations. The biggest things is to stay sober and to follow the recovery plan.
Yeah.
We have a house meeting once a month that's mandatory. It's mandatory to do your 6 classes in the year.
Right.
And it's an expectation to meet with your assigned staff once a month.
Yeah.
I think overall the biggest expectation is just to be open and honest in communication.
Right.
So if the ladies, even though we say it's mandatory to come to the house meeting, if they have some kind of commitment that they need to attend, the biggest thing is just to, instead of not coming to the meeting, just to connect with one of the staff member and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, totally. And just having that open communication so that you can still stay on the same page with them and check in with them if need be.
Yeah. Our biggest thing is we're trying to make it as much of the real world as possible.
Right.
So if I couldn't come to work and I didn't call my boss would be upset with me. But if I called my boss and let her know what was going on, it would be a different story, right?
Exactly. That's 100%. Yeah, very true. And with that, so have you guys noticed if there are any like preconceived barriers for your programming that potential clients should not be concerned about? Because there are like some myths when it comes to like sober living, at least from what I've heard here at Thorpe, just from talking with clients and stuff. Have you guys noticed anything like that with your programming?
Probably 2 things. I have heard a lot of people, and I've experienced some more, I guess, not, how do I word this? Not the best environment to live in. So where you don't have your own space to come and just chill and relax and be at peace in. Like I said before, we have the individual suites, so they're able to just have their own space and their own serenity there.
Yeah.
The other biggest one I've heard is that the second that you relapse, you don't have housing. So Cornerstone does our best to work with the individual, doing stay on track plan or finding a suitable support in the community, depending on what direction both we feel they need to go in and what direction they feel they need to go in. So it's really for us about empowering the client and giving them choice.
Mhm.
So my first question when an individual relapses is always, do you want to continue using? Because I don't assume that they want to stop using because I don't think they should be using, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't want to be here. So then we help them find a house or suitable housing
Yeah.
where they can continue in their addiction or however that looks for their life.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, we ask them if they want to do a stay on track plan. So this might be connecting with a staff once a week, random drug testing. There's more accountability than what's already been put in the service agreement.
Right. Yeah.
And again, that's all based off of what they think they can handle as well. So I don't say you need to attend a meeting every day.
Mhm.
I say, how many meetings do you think you need to be attending in a week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we don't want them to feel like they're going to be set up to fail.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I've seen that happen a lot where in treatment or in sober living, housing is lost and jeopardized the second that they admit to that. And like I said, we just want them to be honest so that we can work with them, especially right from the beginning. If they're starting to feel like they're using, you know, are you feeling you want to use? Are you feeling triggered? I want them to start feeling like they can be honest with that so that we can avoid the relapse from happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, sometimes it's a lot easier to be honest with others than ourselves. So even them vocalizing that to you guys, like saying that, you know what, I'm feeling triggered or I'm having cravings right now. Whereas if they hadn't spoken up, it might just be something that's manifesting inside of them and they don't know what to do about it too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's largely what our monthly meetings are about, or asking some of those direct questions as well, because I think a lot of these individuals who have been through this a number of times have experienced that loss of housing.
Right.
So their automatic response is to go into survival mode where they're not feeling like, if why would you tell somebody that you're feeling like you wanted to use if you think you're gonna be out on the streets that night?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like the approach that you guys take too is really about giving that power back to the clients too, right? Like not making them feel like you have that power over them, but really working with them and showing that you both have the power to support the client. The client can learn to support themselves. And I think that's really wonderful too.
Yeah, and it's knowing our limits as well. Like we also as a team discuss if this is the right program for that individual.
Right.
But it's not like the second we say, okay, we don't feel this is the right program for this individual, see ya, go find your own program. We help them find that program.
Yeah, exactly. Like you still provide that support, like regardless if they're going to stay in your programming or not, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So I know I asked you guys a ton of questions just now, but I kind of just wanted to open it up. And if there's anything that we didn't cover that you would like to share, by all means, I would love to hear anything else you have to offer today.
I don't think so. Is there anything you?
No, I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it.
I think we got her good. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time and meeting with me today for our coffee with community connections during COVID. Say that 10 times fast. But this is really wonderful, and to finally kind of get to virtually meet you, Jennifer, because you and I have kind of worked together quite a bit in the past year. So I really appreciate getting this opportunity and learning more about you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, for sure. I actually did think of one other thing. In part of our larger Salvation Army, we do have our men's program as well called Keystone. So, and they do a very similar program to what Cornerstone does. So if some of your other connections are looking for men's supports, this is called Keystone. Yeah.
And do they have a website as well?
Yeah, I can send you both of those.
That would be great. And then we can link it to this video as well, which would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.